Has you really excited, huh? The
Yep,
streak that we're on?
yep. Hold on, let me officially put on my headset in.
It's okay. I just want to capture that for the pod, you know? I, I,
Guys,
I did I didn't want you to have to repeat yourself too many times.
Oh yeah, but you gotta ask me, why does it have you excited? Why is it that you're drinking a beer for the first time in 53 pods or
Wait,
50?
hold on. Can we, CJ? This is something I need to. Okay, for all the listeners and viewers, I just want you to. Well, welcome back as always. Sorry, this is the Gunners Corners pod. Um, the reason why, at least me personally, I'm a little concerned for Laurent is this man is the definition of health, the definition of wellness. The only thing he drinks is green tea and water. Typically, CJ and I like to dabble, and for the first time in since January, since we started this pod, Mr. Piana has a alcoholic beverage.
yes, sir.
And I think the prediction of Centurion is starting to get to
Boy, boy, is that getting to me, man. Uh,
the
you know
floor
what
is
this?
yours. Floor is yours.
Well, first and foremost, I'd like to come on this podcast, right? This is what, 54, I believe.
56.
Oh, 56, sorry. And I just want to give a round of applause to Arsenal. I am truly impressed thus far. I think it's been quite a performance. On one end, defensively, truly an impeccable performance. They have shown, right, that it's a mature club. They've come a long way. All of that time, all of that effort, and suddenly it's starting to pay dividend. And thank you for also representing the Premier League in the manner that you have in the Champions League thus far. However, this all ends this month. This is the month where the Arsenal will truly see that, for one, the competition that is the Champions League, hence Bayern, right, is what it is. I think your defensive performances will be put to the test against the highest of caliber. We've seen what, right, obviously what Bayern has done to the likes of PSG, and I believe, right, that that stain on your record will suddenly be met. And furthermore, at the end of that month, we all know what time it is, who your opponents are. And I personally sent an email, a message to Mr. Delap, letting him know that he must lead the line in a manner, right, that is becoming of that man against the Arsenal. And I truly believe that at the end of this month, the title race will be wide open once more. So, congrats for your efforts thus far. However, this month we settle the accounts and the Chelsea gets back in the mix. Cheers to that, my friends.
I don't know if I'm going to cheers to that. I don't know about you, CJ.
Mm.
Why, I think it's so hard to keep a straight face. That was an elite monologue in the way it was presented. But whether it's true, factual, or fiction, cap, all the above, is yet to be determined. But yo, no, that was a good monologue. Still, I actually appreciate it. Takes a lot of effort and
Mm.
guts. The beer is doing something.
Oh yeah, it's definitely, bro. When you haven't been drinking for a long time, yeah, this is all it takes. This it doesn't take much, to send you whew, in that yeah. But other than that though, how's everyone doing though? Good?
I, I do have to ask.
Mm.
So when we were doing our predictions, I just want to confirm when we were doing our predictions, were you under the influence?
That's exactly what I was gonna say. Still,
Oh, what? Definitely. That is funny. No,
Because what you were saying about Chelsea, and you and I talked about it. What you were saying
mm,
about Chelsea when we were doing our predictions, I think one would have to one would have to say that Mr. Piano was under the influence of something that was not life itself,
mm,
and I would even say the last 4 or 5 pods you were under the influence of something that is not this present world that we live in, because you were still on Chelsea can still be Centurion.
mm.
So I just want to ask you, you know, when are we recording? Today is November 6th. This will be out for November 7th. Mr. Piana, will Chelsea be Centurion?
The likelihood of that has definitely diminished. Um, However, right, it is still in the realm of possibilities. And I will say this, because if you're saying 4 to 5 pods ago, actually, I think it might have been uh, a few pods before that. But was I under the influence when I made a certain comment about a certain player versus a certain other player? Ah,
Oh, you're talking about, I know what you're talking about.
well, what am I referring to?
You're referring to Eze being leaps and bounds better than a Mr. Cole Palmer who disappears whenever Arsenal come knocking.
Hey, man, all I'm saying is, right, the proof is in the pudding, as they say. And it seems that in light of recent events, there has been a post that has come out, an official post. Right? This is not AI, ladies and gentlemen. This is from, I believe, UEFA themselves, right? And they have confirmed the starting 10 in FIFA, right? And you guys just go take a look at, right, where Mr. Eberici Eze is and where Mr. Cole Palmer supposedly is, right? And you guys decide from there. So not all my predictions, right? Not all my assessments are out of whack. Um, and I'll say as much. So Centurions, hey man, still pending. Still pending. But
CJ,
unlikely, but still pending.
I'm curious. I'm curious what CJ has to say about this.
yo, I'm enjoying the monologue still. Laurent is coming with a different energy today. I'm a man like I like to do my talking on the pitch, so I wait for my football club to deliver.
Mm,
November 29th.
okay.
I'm actually surprised how much chess you're coming with, considering the state of your club at the moment. Uh, you know, and considering the state of where we're at the moment. If we're being humble, you know, um, shout out to Cristiano Ronaldo. If we're being humble or trying to be humble, um, yeah, when you kind of take a step back and look at where both clubs are at, if you're being humble, um, you know, the chess that any Chelsea fan has the audacity to come with towards Arsenal is kind of crazy if you think about it. But again, shout out to Cristiano Ronaldo. Mans are choosing not to be humble.
Mm,
That is the route you're willing to go down, so that's fine. We can do our talking on the pitch. I will stay silent on the matter
mm,
until later this month, and I'll continue to sip my Lipton green tea.
okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. I mean, I think our other co-host here has put his money on the line on Arsenal delivering big this year. So, you know, I'm watching out for that, right? Champions League, that's a big one. That is a big one. And seems that Murad, you decided to really truly back the club, despite the fact, right, that I think we've
Never
seen.
done it.
Hmm?
Never done it.
But man, it's like I think Bayern to this month Bayern will truly be a test for you guys, undoubtedly.
Hmm.
I don't know if you guys seen the game, but
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
they are a different animal, man. And surprising too, because it's under a company, right? Which is a new manager. Um, but he seems to have, figured out a way to get these guys truly to work. And I think they have a similar record to you guys, right? In terms of
Yeah, they just have more
4-0.
goals scored,
mm,
if I'm
mhm.
not mistaken.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're 14 goals for. We have 11 for.
Mm,
That's why they're ahead of us. Um, on Ronaldo, just before we move on to some Arsenal news, it came out, and I think CJ was you who shared it. Um, he essentially implied that the Saudi Pro League is harder, so it's easier to score in like La Liga. Um, the Saudi Pro League is better than the Portuguese league. Apparently, you don't need to win World Cup to be the GOAT, greatest of all time, and winning the World Cup is not a dream of his. Um, I'm gonna keep my comments to myself on this one because if I speak, I will be in trouble. So I'm gonna open the floor to you two. Well, well, uh, yeah. What's your thoughts? What's your thoughts on this?
Well, we want to hear your thoughts too, but before that, I'm curious to hear from Ronaldo's biggest fan over here, Mr. Laurent and Piana. And I say that, right? All jokes aside, I feel like, Laurent, I've known you for a long time, whatever.
mm,
We go way back, viewers, if you don't know. Um, and so, knowing Laurent as I do, without knowing this for a fact, because I never actually asked him, but those of you who have known Laurent by now, 50 something pods in, you get his demeanor, you catch a vibe of his attitude and whatnot. I am allegedly saying that he is a Ronaldo fan, enthusiast, you know. But if you viewers are putting two and two together based on the Laurent that you know before you today, you'd be forgiven in thinking that, he is a Ronaldo fan himself. I've never asked you, Laurent, but again, knowing you the way I do, I feel like I know what side of the coin you stand on, really, to be honest, when it comes to the Ronaldo Messi debate. So I am curious to know your thoughts about what Ronaldo's been saying, where you stand in the debate, and just generally, like, is Ronaldo like salty? Is he being salty with his comments? Like, we've seen snippets of his comments this week in the latest interviews. Like, what are you thinking of this?
well, I mean, we're referring to Mr. Champions League, no?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, no. Um, all right, well, listen, the cat is out of the hat at this point. You've caught me. I do. I do appreciate and I do favor him actually over Messi. Just on an overall basis, not more so like if we're talking like who's the better player. Because for me, I like Ronaldo. It's the attitude for me, the arrogance on the pitch, the power, right? It's everything, and right, a lot of these things that just Messi does not have, right? And at the same time too, they're different players respectively. If we're being completely honest, right? They serve different functions. But now in regards to his comments, um, if I think if anyone is being truly objective, right, you can tell that he is trying to excuse himself from not having won the
Hmm.
World Cup. All right. And again, what was the last one? Was it the Qatar one? We all saw it. We all saw it when his team got eliminated. I mean, shit, bro. The guy cried us a river. You know what I mean? Like you don't hide that, right? That says that you care deeply about that competition and about your club, right, being eliminated out of that, right? Uh, and I'm sure, bro, he would have loved to have won it for Portugal, right? It's a pride and joy, the World Cup. So I don't think he's being honest when he says that, if we're being completely objective. Um, and yeah, I think it's bro, it's his ego just won't allow him to, you know, say what should actually be said. Uh,
Hmm.
yeah, so yeah, that answers your question, no?
Yeah, I would say so. I would say so.
Mm.
Um, yeah, I'm curious to know what Murdoch got to say. Is he's there laughing? But for me, yeah, in a nutshell, yeah, I think in summary, he's salty. I think. I think that's just what it comes down to. Um, Specifically in the GOAT debates, right? He's trying to, as you said, kind of keep a little bit of pressure, take a little bit of pressure off himself, knowing there's a World Cup next year that he's probably going to be taking part of. What happens if he doesn't win it, right? The narrative behind that. He's trying to definitely pour some cold water on that kind of pressure going into the next World Cup, considering his main competitor won the last one, right? So the timing of this is obviously perfect, right? The PR behind it. Um, it comes at a timely manner for him to try and save face, right? If he doesn't win, because this is the last chance saloon for him. So I think that's what it is. I think, he's, let's be honest, guys, there's nothing that irked him more than Messi lifting that World Cup trophy. Like, there's nothing that irked his soul more. He knows that that was like the nail potentially in the coffin of the debate, and time is not on his side to rectify that. As I said, he only has one more World Cup to try and win, and let's be honest, like Portugal could win. They have a good squad, not because of him per se. I've said for a couple of years now, controversially, he's more of a hindrance to that team now than a help because
Mm.
of his lack of mobility, his lack of work right now. Right, the team, instead of trying to play for him and give the ball to him and everything being centered around Ronaldo, it's less of a team because Ronaldo's still in the picture. And for so long as Ronaldo's still in the picture, despite all the great players, whatever, everyone knows that the focus, the narrative, the spotlight game in game out for as long as he's playing with them is going to be on Ronaldo, right? So it does. I feel like it doesn't allow the team to flourish as much and gel as much. So that's just my opinion. But yeah, I mean, I think the whole thing, all these comments, right? All these things that kind of would stand you in good stead in terms of what does the goat mean? He's still performing and he's still scoring in the Saudi league, and he's trying to justify that that is still relevant. Um, by saying things like, scoring in the Saudi Pro League is harder than scoring in La Liga. The Saudi Pro League is a tougher league than the Portuguese league. Why is he saying all these things? He doesn't need to. He's taking the bait, and he's sort of running with it essentially. Like, I think in interviewers, right, and we see pundits try and draw out players all the time with questions that they ask you, right? And Ronaldo emotionally, right, is one to take the bait, I guess, in that sense. And yeah, he's kind of feeding into these narratives. And this interview, I think, has done more. We haven't heard the full thing yet because it's not come out yet, but I think it's doing more harm for him than than help. As I said, in Messi fashion, right? In the whole what Laurent has been doing, and kind of talking up Chelsea. In Messi fashion, Messi prefers to do his talking on the pitch, right? So I think Ronaldo should just really be keeping his mouth shut at this moment in time about those things. But he's being drawn out, and it's worked. He's been drawn out. He's now saying things in the public because I think Messi is living rent free in his head, despite what he wants to say, despite the fact that he thinks that he's better and all this stuff. I think this whole Messi thing has really irked him. And again, the icing on the cake that has really given him sleepless nights is Messi lifting that World Cup. And now Ronaldo is, it's killing him a little bit, to be honest with you. So all that to say, he's a great player. He's a phenomenal player. Him and Messi are 1 and 2 like this, neck and neck. I think in the debates, definitely the World Cup thing for Messi has slightly given Messi the edge, in my opinion. But there's no doubt. I'm kind of giving Ronaldo a little bit of shit here and whatnot, but he's still definitely a goat and one of the goats of the game, for sure.
Yeah, I'll agree with both of you. Yeah, I've
No,
never,
man.
I've never liked them.
Really?
Never liked them.
Damn, like wait, why is that?
I think it's I think there comes a point where when you know you're that great and you know you're that good, the more you try to it's exactly what CJ said. The more that you try to like justify how great you are by making outrageous comments, it makes you look, to me personally, this is my own personal opinion, it lowers you on the totem pole for me. If you're that great, you don't need to say anything about it. You
Mm,
don't you there, let other people go to bat for you. Let other people do your battles because you know the main battle that matters is the battle on the pitch. So for
jeez.
me, like being objective and looking at or trying to be objective and looking at Portugal's chances of the next World Cup and looking at Argentina's chances of this next World Cup. Like when you look at Argentina's team, if anything, they are better now than they were at the Qatar World Cup. Their team looks phenomenal. They have that experience. They have a few young kids coming through the system that are definitely going to inject some well needed energy into that lineup with some aging players, right? Like he knows that like he knows this team is gonna potentially be favorites again. And Portugal, as long as like exactly as he just said, as long as he's a part of it, they will not be able to take that next step. Because I think Portugal does have a very good team without him in it.
Yeah.
Because he can be that spark that comes on at the 60th minute and gives you 30 minutes of hard work, but his ego will not let him do that. Whereas with Messi, the difference is yes, he doesn't have work rate. They both have the work rate issue, but the thing with Messi is like when he's on the ball, there's more that he can do. He tries to play close with you, right? Whereas Ronaldo still thinks he has the pace. He still thinks he can keep the ball where you're, facing like a Saliba, you're facing like a Mark Gahey. You're not going to be able to outmuscle those type of players. Maybe in your prime you would, but not at this age. So, and making comments like this, like if you again for me, if you know you're that great, just let other people fight your battles. There's no need to kind of make outrageous comments. Like, come on, let's be real now. The Saudi Pro League is not harder than La Liga or even Liga. Let's be serious. There's like two, three good teams, and that's it. Like that's just like, come on, man, come on. Like, let's be real. That's like saying Sunday leagues are better than the championship. Like, no, like no. So that's my uh that's my PG comments on this topic. Maybe when off air, I'll tell you my rated R comments on this. Um, but on happier news, Arsenal. Laurent already teased it. 3-0. I mean, I shouldn't really sound surprised. 3-0 away from home against Slavia Praha. Um, Super Mikel Marino. CJ, he's right now he's arguably our best number 9. I I don't know if that's like he's arguably our best number 9. And Gabriel Saliba doing their thing. Um, like, listen, my only talking point, and I think you and I, CJ, we were talking about in our group chat. Um, the injuries is a big concern. Gyökeres is out till the end of the international break. Martinelli's out to the end of the international break, which is coming up next week. Jesus is finally training. Havertz, Odegaard, Zubimendi, Madueke. Um, and the real question to me, and then I want to pose to both of you is this like a training issue? Is this a workload issue? Is this like what is going on? Is it limited to Arsenal, or is it because for example, CJ and I only focus on Arsenal injuries that we're seeing this more, or is this in a broader sense, like an issue with football in general? Because we've heard Pep talk about it, we've heard Jurgen Klopp talk about it. Recently, we've heard Arne Slot talk about it. Arteta's tried to not really go down that rabbit hole. But is this, before we take it away from the Arsenal game analysis, but like, is this an Arsenal issue, or would you guys say it's more of a footballing issue? And CJ, I'll pose it to you first because I know you have your breakdown of the game.
Okay. So sorry. So you want me to touch on the injury topic before the game?
Whatever's easier.
Okay.
If you want to do the
Well,
game and then the injury topic.
okay. No. So yeah, we'll stick on the injury theme for a moment. Before the game. Yeah. So I said it to you guys before the game. Obviously, right? My concern with the injuries and the fact that they're piling up. Um, and we're fortunate in a sense that there's one more game before the international break. And I say fortunate because, fingers crossed that our players don't get injured while they're on duty with their countries. But we have one more game um, to, hopefully get some before that, or sorry, after that, I should say, get some players back, right? We literally have one more game to get through. And then it's like, okay, let's get some of these freaking guys back because it's getting out of hand, right? Like now we're getting down to the bare bones. And the only thing really is the people that I talk to about Arsenal at the moment, right, who are saying Arsenal's looking really good and, it could be our time. The common thing I say, and what people will also understand, is the only thing that can derail our season again is injuries. And yes, we have squad depth, right? We have one of the best squads in Europe, one of the best squads in the world at the moment. But when all these guys are out and injured, there is no more squad depth. When we looked at the Champions League bench a couple of days ago, we're still seeing kids that we have to pull from our academy to get onto the bench, and that bringing back to flashbacks of last season and the season before when we're naming kids on our bench because we can't field our first team players with all the injuries. Like as good as our squad is, we're getting back down to that again, and it's getting scary. So it's like I'm very kind of happy in a way that this is our last game before a 2-week international break to get some guys in the fitness, out of the treatment room and back onto the pitch because we're gonna need. We're going to need as many of our guys as possible going into that run that we have after the international break. And this last game before the break against Sunderland is we have just enough attackers left to field a front three. You know what I mean? With a Marino, Saka, and Trossard. That's it. Who else would come in there? You'd have to find room for Eze maybe on the left wing if one of those three were out. But that's literally it. That's all we have to field the front three at the moment. Marino, Saka, and Trossard. It picks itself. We have nobody else to select from because literally all the other attackers are currently injured who are in the first team. It's actually mad to think about. So we're down to the bare bones as it is. So it's kind of a timely break coming up. But yeah, and in terms of like, you have to ask the deeper questions now, like what is really going on? And of course, across the board, managers have complained about, the games and the overload and players' minutes. And, we see the injuries that clubs are picking up because of it, right? There's so many games at the moment that come thick and fast. It could come as at a hindrance to the players, right? Because they're not robots, and players themselves have come out and said it. But ours seem to be at a different rate altogether. I mean, this is just ridiculous, right? When we're looking at this list at the moment, like that is a heavy duty list, and those are all attacking players. And so my common question that I posed to you guys in the group chat, and the question I have for you viewers, is if you look at the injuries that Arsenal has at the moment, Gyökeres, Havertz, Jesus, that's literally all three of our strikers. Odegaard, Martinelli, Madueke. That's another three attacking players. Zubimendi should be back this weekend. He had a slight muscular issue, and he probably could have played in midweek in the Champions League, but he had a yellow card suspension, so he couldn't play. But again, everything around that is all forward players, all attacking players. Why is that the case? You have to ask yourself. Well, one of my theories might be is if all these attacking players are picking up injuries, I do not think there's many forwards in the league or across Europe who have as much workload and work rate put on them as Arsenal's attacking players. And when I talk about the way we defend, right, our defense is not just our back four. We defend as a team. That includes our midfielders, that includes our wingers, that includes our center forward. The work rate that these guys put in, the work rate that everybody puts in to defend collectively as a team, like the way we track, our wingers have to track back when we lose the ball. You see Arteta on the touchlines. Those of you who focus in and zoom in on the game, Arteta literally stands outside of his technical area and he's almost on the pitch himself trying to get guys back when we lose the ball. You see it. He'll point, get 2-3 guys to surround and kind of harass and hurry the opposition players who are on the ball, right? We do our best to get guys tracking back in numbers and sometimes, swarm 2-3 players on the opposition player who has the ball to try in an effort to win the ball back. There's so much intensity that goes into it, right? And there's one thing that we talked about, or that many people talked about. I've heard over the last year when Saka picked up his muscle injury, is when you compare Saka to a Salah, right? Under Jurgen Klopp, under even Arne Slot to an extent, but mostly under Klopp, Salah didn't really defend. He didn't really track back, right? Other players would do his dirty work in that team. Henderson in midfield, Wijnaldum when he was there, right? The midfielders in that Liverpool team were the ones that did Salah's dirty work and his running. And Salah would stay high up the pitch. So Liverpool win the ball back, they would spring Salah quickly. That's where he got a lot of his success. Whereas at Arsenal, Saka doesn't have that luxury, right? We can't leave him high up the pitch. Arsenal's wingers are tasked to track back pretty much almost right, be right on top of the fullback essentially when we lose the ball, right? You have to track and you track your man and you track him all the way back to your 18-yard box if that's what it takes. Like we defend with such intensity and we have so much urgency in our play. And yes, it's good in some senses because again, we're the best defensive team in the league for a reason because everybody knows their duty off the ball. Everybody has to work. Everybody has to get behind the ball when we lose it. That's just the mentality that Arteta's instilled into the players. So again, while we see the reaps of that, the benefits of that, of how switched on we are defensively, is it coming at a hindrance to our players? Are they doing too much running? Is there too much intensity in the legs, especially of our forward players? We play with a lone striker, right? How much does our striker press? Gyökeres has come in and he's picked up right away on what Arteta and what our team asks our lone striker to do, right? It's press from the front, press all over the place as the lone striker. Havertz did it. Jesus had to do it. It's a difficult system to play in Arteta's team off the ball. It's a lot of work. And not only that, that's just what we see on the field when the games are on in the 90-minute game. The other question is what happens in the training ground. Do we know how much intensity they're putting into training, right? Famously, Havertz's injury last year, his hamstring injury, the one that he had the operation on, came when we were in Dubai, warm weather training. He mashed up his hamstring in Dubai, doing I think it was a pressing drill.
Yep.
And that warm weather training in Dubai was supposed to be a little bit of a break, a little bit of a get the players back up to speed, catch your breath. He pulled his hamstring in a training session in Dubai, doing a drill, doing a pressing drill. It's like, damn, like, are these players getting a break? Where are we training? How are we training? There used to be rumors that Arsenal's training ground at London Colney was built on top of a car park, right? Which is a tough ground, right? There's concrete and there's cement under the training ground. There's rumors that when the England camp used to get together, they never used to want to train at Arsenal's training ground because of the pitch was very hard because, like I said, it's built on top of a car park or a parking lot, right? So there's a tough cement ground underneath the training pitch. So there are rumors that the England camp didn't want to train at Arsenal's ground for that reason as well. So some of these things are just making me think, like, what's going on? We have to look at things collectively, right? That's the deeper sort of issue here. Is we can't just keep saying, "Oh, woe was me. We're unlucky with all these injuries." It's a common theme now that's dragged on into the new season over season, and so we have to kind of get into the deeper issue and ask the difficult questions on what's going on. What's our training regimes like? Do we get enough rest and recovery? Are players being asked to do too much in games? These are just some of the questions that I have. So I don't know, after my little monologue there, where you guys stand on it, or after hearing me talk, Laurent, what your thoughts are. But surely it's not just a coincidence alone. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I mean, I know that this was mentioned earlier in the year. I think even by you, but it seems like especially around these times, is when those injuries start to come knocking. There is also the aspect, right, like Pep has mentioned, that a lot of games are being played now at the professional level, right? So on one end, that is a factor that we have to account for. Yeah, I mean, under Mauricio Pochettino, when he was at Chelsea, I don't know if you guys heard about this, but apparently his training was considered pretty taxing on the players, right? I know we did have a few injuries there. So yes, how the players train, right? The type of football that they play, that can definitely add a lot of stress, right? To the players, right? It's wear and tear at the end of the day, right? On the body. And at this point, I think, well, on one end, it seems that whatever you guys are doing, right, is giving you guys the results on the pitch, right? So there's the good side to that. But now it's the question is, well, is it sustainable in the long term? And if right we come to halfway to the season and again right we start to seeing that trend continue, then I think the answer would be that whatever system or methods you guys are employing, right, simply is not sustainable over a long-term campaign, right? For Premier League, and on top of that, right, there's also other competitions that you guys competed. So definitely something that I think the Arsenal camp would have to look at, right? Because what good is it, right? You're sprinting over the first 100 yards, but again, right, you're slowing down once right the race starts to progress, and you don't end up going getting anywhere. So yeah, no, I'd agree.
I don't really have anything else to add, but then I agree. I think there need to be questions asked of our training routine, and um, if the players know that we're going to be high pressing, what's the added benefit of doing those type of drills in like two in the middle of the week, or when you go away for like winter training, whereas you want to do rest and recover, and you maybe want to work on tactics. Sure, you can do the pressing, and I know that's part of the training, but you kind of got to read the room and see, okay, they've had this much load, and there's so much analytics, and there's so much things that the sports science is doing, that it's like, okay, are we just maybe we're getting the sports science wrong? Like, what is it that we're getting wrong? And I think personally, like, if I just take my Arsenal lens out of this, I think the broader thing is the players are playing too much. I think there's been too much asked of the players, and I think we're going to see more and more of these injuries. And I think from a club level, we need to be better. We need to do better, and I'm very happy with the rotation that Arteta is implementing this year. And a lot of players are being rotated, and he's trying to make sure that there's minutes in everybody's legs. Um, but yeah, and I don't think it's ever going to change. I think it's only going to get worse until maybe the players just say we're not playing anymore. And I don't know if we're ever going to get to that point. Um, but before we move on from this game, CJ, what was your takeaway from the game in itself? Like, were you happy with the performance? Were you not happy with the performance?
Mm. Yeah, another mature performance, to be honest with you. I enjoyed it. When you watch Arsenal at the moment, I was speaking to my dad about this actually too when we were debriefing about the game. Like, someone who's been a lifelong Gooner himself, much older than me, which is where I pretty much got my fandom was from him. Watching with the games with him is like, he's like, yeah, where he's like, I'm watching Arsenal of old at the moment, which is, the prime Wenger years when we were winning games consistently at a consistent level. The drive and the hunger and the determination that these players have at the moment to defend, to win games, is again watching these games with my father, who was around for the prime Invincibles. He said it's he's drawing those parallels. It's that invincible side, the desire and the hunger they had to not lose games, right? Their mentality was to go out and win every single game. And again, very high, comparison, and a lot of pressure to compare this side to the Invincibles. But the similar parallels there is the way we defend, which is essentially similar to not, losing games. Is right. We want to go out and win games, and we also want to keep clean sheets. Like this team is so switched on and so focused at the moment. I just feel like, there's just so much, again, and a credit to Arteta, right, who has a team so switched on. Um, the performances look so mature, right? You see it in the first half, especially when they were on top. If you guys watch that game, right, the first 15, 20 minutes, typical, European game where the home team, in Slavia Prague in this case, came out strong, came out hard at us, but we rode that wave, right? You ride the wave, you ride the crowd, the atmosphere, you stay level headed, um, and you carry on. And then eventually we grew into the game, and as you know, that's what the better sides do. They grow into these games when you go to tough away grounds, and you at the end you show that you're clearly the better team, which is what we did in this game. And I'm so impressed by that, because in again, in recent times, in our banter years, We go to these grounds and you crumble under the pressure and under the atmosphere because they don't have the mentality. And before you know it, you're 2-0 down in these tough away grounds, right? And that atmosphere, credit to them and their fans, very hostile environment. I don't know if you guys saw the tifos behind the goals, like they again they put our tifos to shame what we did last year. I love watching these European games at these sort of away grounds, right? Because there's so much passion and so much energy, and again the tifos are amazing. The whole vibe of the atmosphere is amazing, and it must be incredible to play in as a player, you know. But specifically, I want to call out when I talk about the maturity level of these players, right? There's an incident in the first half where their striker, right, that friggin' 7 foot giant, whatever the hell his name is, you guys know what I'm talking about, the striker who played
Yeah.
up top for them. He made, you know, our defenders are no slouches, bro. He made them look like friggin', you know, Yao Ming
It's-
versus Steph Curry. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
he made it look like a complete mismatch. But um, you know, there was a moment, and so they're obviously trying to rough up our players, right? And there were a few moments, a few altercations, and you saw one time Hincapié get into it with the striker, and Gabriel kind of came across and just pushed Hincapié away. He said, "Yo, keep your head." That's exactly what they're trying to do. They're trying to wind us up, but Gabriel came across, proper leader, proper captain, came across, pushed Hincapié out of that situation to calm him down and to remind him of the assignment. And so much credit to that because again in years gone by you probably see even Gabriel himself get into that sort of
Yeah.
altercation and embrace that and get sent off for doing something stupid, but now he's level-headed enough to kind of calm the players down, remind everybody of the assignment, and we carry on, and so yeah, I think from that point onwards, we just never look like conceding nowadays, man. It's great to watch. We grew into the game, we got the control, and yeah, the first goal was crucial. And we debated it. Well, not debated it, but there's questions about is that a handball, is that not a handball. I fully agree with the fact that it's a weak handball, but in the Champions League, mind you, we don't know generally what a handball is or isn't nowadays. It's just it's stupid all over the place. In every league, everywhere has a different thing, but in the Champions League, so long as they're giving those kind of calls as handballs, they have to remain consistent. I think it's weak, but they're calling it in other games. They called it against us last year. That has to be a handball if you're going to be consistent with the law, the letter of the law of the Champions League. And I will also say his arm technically was not in a natural position. There's no reason for his hand to be up there when he's defending like that. Um, but so long as again, if you were being consistent, you got to call that, and the rest is history from there, right? So I think we have to give a special shout out to Mikel Marino for sure. As you said, I'm not sure about best number 9, but damn, is he clinical?
Yeah.
He's very, very clinical. One time finishes in the box. That guy, he looks like he's been playing striker all his life, right? And there's an argument to say he plays better as a striker for Arsenal than he does as a midfielder for Arsenal. His better performances for us have come when he's played up top, if we're being honest.
Yep.
So very impressed all around, and I think much deserved victory, especially as we go into a tough game this weekend.
Let me give you guys a random fact, and you guys saw in the episode breakdown. I did actually give you the reference for it, so it is factual. Arsenal's 3-0 win against Slavia Praha is their eighth consecutive shutout, equaling a club record set way back in 1903.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
So if we win one more, so we beat Sunderland and it's a shutout, then this team would set the record of all time for Arsenal. So right now we've set the record, which was set way back in 1903.
Wasn't for clean sheets.
Consecutive clean sheets, yes.
Mm.
I just want to add something real quick before we continue. I to the point of other people recognizing, just what we're doing at the moment and actually taking us as a serious side. It's funny, Laurent, hearing you say earlier, like, credit to Arsenal and how they're playing at the moment, and this is the real deal. This team looks like no joke. Funny enough, I don't know if you remember Ethan, Laurent, my boy from work, the Chinese Jamaican guy who came out with us the
Mm.
last time we all went out.
Mm.
Shout out to him. But I saw him at work today as well. He's also a Chelsea fan, and he's telling me, he's like, yeah, and he's like you, he doesn't want to give Arsenal's credit, London rivalry, all that. But even he's coming to me and he's like, yo, hands up, like Arsenal looks like a proper side, like they're the real deal. Um, he's like, actually, you guys actually might win it, like, straight face, no banter, all jokes aside type shit, and it's like, when we're getting that kind of plaudits from, guys like yourselves and other people, other like rival friends who typically shouldn't be giving Arsenal that kind of praise because again, the rivalries in that, like, people are recognizing, this is a team, not to be messed with really, and a force to be reckoned with. So I think we're raising some eyebrows across Europe, and obviously there's bigger tests to come, specifically after the international break. But right now, yeah, there's no denying we're looking like a proper team finally, you know.
Well, a team that's starting to look a little bit like what they looked like last year. Liverpool turn back that clock again, 2 games in a row. Um, Laurent's waiting for me to make a Arnie Slot comment. There isn't really much to say. Like he got it right. He got it right. What am I gonna say? He got it right. Um, he finally has a defender at right back. He finally went to Andy Robertson, who has a very good relationship with Virgil van Dijk, and VVD actually knows where to play when Robertson's there. He doesn't need to check over his shoulder. He doesn't need to, play left back and left center back. He can just play his left center back. Um, Vinny went missing in this game. I don't know if you guys watched the game.
Horrible performance, disgusting
Like
performance.
he went missing, and um, if I'm being honest with you, I'm not happy as an Arsenal fan because if he's figured out the rotation, if he's figured out that sticking Verts as left wing and getting a rotation with Cody Gakpo, because Gakpo can play center forward, he can also come in as left wing. Like if he's figured that out, he's figured out putting the trust back into Robertson and Bradley. It doesn't bode well for Arsenal's title race, nor does it bode well for what's going to happen this weekend at Man City. But as a football fan, I'm excited for this because Liverpool they're not meant to be the Liverpool that we saw prior to these two games. Liverpool are meant to be there. So for me, like as an Arsenal fan, I'm not happy about this. But as a football fan, this was a good watch. This was a very good watch, and to watch uh, Vinícius Júnior, a quote unquote Ballon d'Or snub, who should have won it over Rodri, which I don't think he should have, to get pocketed by like respectfully, like Conor Bradley, who
I mean,
like
wasn't it the same kid that pocketed Mbappe last year?
Yep.
no, but like who
Still, yeah.
like Nuno Mendes, okay, Conor Bradley, huh? Who? What? So for me, the only thing I have to say is I gotta put my hands up and say, hey, Arnie, you got it right. 2 games in a row, and I hope you fuck it up on Sunday.
Well, do we actually? Is that the result that we want? With more, we'll talk about that a little bit later on. But um, listen, as much as Liverpool were good, Real Madrid once again were dog shit again. They shot the bed in this game. Like they didn't turn up at all. There was media press about this being, Mbappe's remontada and redemption for the shit performance he put in last year when this exact same fixture in the Champions League when he missed the penalty. He also went missing again in this game, Mbappe. So Mbappe didn't turn up. Vinicius didn't turn up. Jude Bellingham didn't turn up. Um, Nobody really turned up for Real Madrid. Arda Güler, like, did he even play? I didn't even notice him. Um, it was just another poor display from the biggest club in the world, apparently, especially in Champions League.
Yeah.
They haven't turned up. They haven't turned up again at Anfield. It's disappointing. I think one thing we're seeing, right, this isn't Real Madrid of yesteryear in terms of the Galacticos and the big names and the Ronaldos, the Luka Modric's and Tony Cruz, all those guys in their prime, and obviously the Galacticos before that. These guys are big in name on paper, but again, not this isn't a Real Madrid team. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys. I don't know. This doesn't look like a Real Madrid team that strikes fear into me at the moment. There's something that looks off with them in terms of their balance. If Arsenal played them again this year, I would not be afraid, to be honest with you. The balance of that team doesn't look right still.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't look right to me. Something's off. Their center backs, I mean, again, it shows where we are versus where they are at the moment. I wouldn't trade anyone in their backline for ours, not one. That Dean Howson, who came from Bournemouth last year, does not look like ready for Real Madrid level. He was poor in that game.
Shaky.
Yeah, he was poor in that game. To be honest with you. And yeah, I just think, the occasion, obviously Anfield, European nights, right? They turn up, and obviously the extra factor behind their motivation was the whole thing with Trent, right? And they showed that, right? So obviously Real Madrid looked like they weren't ready for the assignment, and they I don't know if Xabi Alonso didn't prep them properly, which would be a shame because he's a former player at Liverpool. He should know what that's all about. But it didn't look good. And in particular, I want to call out Vinny again, right? Since the whole thing with the Ballon d'Or snub, something about him hasn't been the same either, right? His attitude lately, his performances, and yet in yesterday's game or 2 days ago, whenever that game was, it just his performance irked me. Like he was just moving like a diva in the game, like
Yeah.
rolling around on the floor, looking for fouls, trying to get the better of Conor Bradley and winding him up. But Conor Bradley was having none of it. He just did his talking on the pinch, crunched him in every tackle, dropped him on the floor. Like Vinny was just poor, man. He was just poor. And so yeah, they got what they deserve in the end.
Anything to add, Laurent?
No, no, no. I think it's a fair assessment. But I mean, I don't know. I think when you say it didn't turn up, I don't know. I feel like it's just Liverpool played well, man, and well, obviously, right, that's what you guys are saying, but it's like I feel like it was they more so neutralized them as opposed to you know them just not showing up, right? And sometimes that's what happens, right? When a team just performs that well, like you get neutralized. And they don't allow you to get into the flow of the game. Um, so
But but would you not agree that if you're someone who's been kicking and crying that you should have won the Ballon d'Or, if you're that caliber of player,
Yeah.
you should like I agree with you. You can't be neutralized for one half,
hmm
but the second half, when you go back to the locker room, you figure out a way to cause havoc.
mm,
So I think there was none of that happened. And if you're a Ballon d'Or esque player, like let's be real, like Rodri, he changed his games. He controls games. He dominates games, and he deserved the Ballon d'Or that year, hands down. So to me, like yeah, I agree with you. I think Liverpool played it in an unreal game, but also if you're saying you're that caliber of a player, you find that moment.
mm,
Every team would find a way to neutralize Messi for a half, but you knew that if you let up, he would find that one moment, he would find that gap, and he would score. Same thing with Ronaldo, right? Same thing with prime Eden Hazard. You'd be able to shut him down for 45, but you would have to keep going, keep going, keep going. And then once you slip, they capitalize on it. And Vinny looked like even if they slipped, he wasn't gonna take advantage at all.
mm.
Mbappe too. Like we can't
Mbappe, yeah.
excuse him either of it. And to your point, Murdad, like that's exactly what I was gonna say. Is sure maybe they got neutralized for a bit, but at some point you figure it out because we're not talking about the average Joe footballer here. Like these are some of the biggest names in the game. Mbappe, big Mbappe, and Vinny Jr. Right? They're at the top of their game, or so we think. Right? That's what everybody looks up to in the game. Mbappe, one of the best forwards around at the moment. Vinny, Ballon d'Or, all that nonsense. So we're talking about guys who are some of the best in the world apparently. So you'd expect a better showing from them a little bit, especially second time around, right? They did the same thing last year and didn't deliver, especially in Mbappe's case. So that's why it's disappointing.
Um, our little North London rivals, where we're gonna face them in a couple weeks. Spurs, they handed Copenhagen a 4-0 loss. Brennan Johnson saw red. I don't know if you guys saw his tackle. It was initially given a yellow, and then VAR intervened and upgraded to a red. Um, they're undefeated in Champions League, but like the question that I know we always ask this, and I think Laurent, you asked it a couple pods ago when Nando's FC were sitting in second or third. Like, do we think that they're in the title race? And CJ and I both laughed because this is Spurs. They win these games like crazy good, and then when it comes to their next game, they choke and they lose games that they should win, and they win games that they have no business winning. Like this weekend, they're facing United, and I wouldn't be shocked if they lose at home, right? So it's that inconsistency, and I don't get it. I really don't get it. I don't know what's going on with them. Um, Newcastle did their thing. I think we talked about it when we were previewing last pod. Like they just look dominant in Champions League right now. Maybe it's the opposition because they're so physical at St James's Park, but they were like I watched parts of that game. They were too dominant for Bilbao. There was like You got Joel Linton coming at you. Like La Liga does not have players like that anymore. Casemiro is gone. You don't have that physical nature anymore. Um, but yeah, they keep winning in the Champions League. Um, Mr. Piana,
Hmm.
what? Talk to
Hmm.
me. Talk to me.
Ah, talking about
2-2.
FK Qarabağ. Well, honestly, man, uh, I'm just glad that game was not lost. First and foremost, because yeah, a loss would have been quite unacceptable. Even a draw, right? It's something to raise your eyebrows. But again, if we analyze that game, all right, tail of the tape, those two goals off of defensive errors, credit to our new signing, Mr. Hato, and more so because I think it was where he was played.
Yeah,
Uh, and yeah, you could tell he looked uncomfortable. He looked quite uncomfortable. That position, right, would have been for Levi Colwell,
yeah.
essentially. It is what it is, man. He made those two mistakes.
The
And
second one was bad.
yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
like I, I was watching it and I was like, do I message him now?
Mm.
Do I message him later? Do I make a comment?
Yeah, no, but honestly, like I said, man, well, bring on the lap, right? And when you're messaging me, I said, bring on the lap, man. Bring him on. And then as we seen, right, that was him winning the ball back in the half and creating you know, that opening for Garnacho, who eventually slotted in the back of the net, right? So,
Yeah,
all in all, right, that was a positive for us, and it's just looking to build, right? I think even the fact that the manager didn't take him off after those two mistakes is also a testament, right, to the trust he's trying to give the players, and it's experience, right? Every player has that, and I think he's just gonna learn from it at this point, right? So yeah, I'm I'm glad that it could have been an easy win for us. So
should have been.
yeah.
In my honest opinion, it should have been. But hey, you keep falling behind in the prediction series, so
Oh yeah.
yeah, we all only got one because Chelsea screwed us. So
Mm,
you're still behind four against CJ and I. But
mm,
but the last Premier League team who was involved in the Champions League, I think CJ message in the group chat is like, this guy's not real, and he was alluding to Holland. Every single time you check, this man is scoring, and he scored against his old team. A City steamrolled Dortmund 4-1. Um, like I don't like what is there to say? Like what is there to say? They're getting healthier. Their Holland is on a tear. He just keeps scoring. It's almost like he's scoring for fun, and he's doing what he did that first year when they won the treble, and it's scary. So I don't know, CJ. Like what, I don't like. Are we Liverpool fans this weekend?
Yo, I don't know, fam. Not that I'm saying like I don't know. When we get to that game, I really want to discuss it with you boys a little bit further in depth because yeah, that's we really have to figure out what we're looking for in that one. But yeah, with regards to this game, the only question I actually have, funny enough, maybe a random side note, did he celebrate when he scored?
Yeah, I think he did. Let me quickly see.
I'm curious about that. That's his old side. Very random thing to think about, but that was the only thing that really came to mind at the moment is if he was that kind of guy, celebrating against his old side. But yeah, man, scary times, scary hours.
He did. It was a very muted celebration.
Yeah, I figured it would be.
Very muted. Yeah.
I guess the real surprise is that he only scored one.
Well,
out of
Foden,
out of the four.
like from the highlights, I don't know if you watched that. Foden was having a game of his life.
Yeah, yeah, I'm hearing Foden is back into form too. So
So
whatever that means. But
you don't rate him?
they try to compare him to Messi at one point.
Fo-
No, I'm being
Foden
dead
or
serious.
Cole Palmer?
For me, I gotta say Cole Palmer. What the fuck?
oh,
Uh,
I
okay.
mean, there's
Oh,
there's there's one man that's in
Here we
FIFA
go.
11. You know, in the starting 11, right? There's only one man.
I just want to remind you that Foden did win Player of the Year though in the Premier League. I don't think Cole Palmer has that accolade to his name. I'm not saying I'm a fan, more so I'm just trying to be controversial, you know?
Mm-hmm. That's fair. That's fair. You know, once our guy has enough game under his belt for the season, I'm sure these awards, right, will be within his grasp. But first, right, you got to play. You got to play to be able to win these awards. You know. So yeah,
He's not going to be fit to play Arsenal, is he? Again.
might not be, but honestly, bro, not too worried about that, right? I think we have enough firepower for you guys come 29th. So
hmm.
I'm excited. I am fucking excited.
Yo, get another beer, fam. Get it.
uh,
Well,
but
oh
yeah,
sorry.
sorry. Before we move on, because I know we're gonna hit on the Premier League. I actually, I feel like we cannot move on before we analyze how Barca was saved. Like, I don't know if you guys saw it,
Yeah, I did. I did.
and that is embarrassing officiating for me personally. Like, I don't even see how they can call it anything else. You see what I'm saying? Like, what is the guy supposed to do? He slid without making contact, right? Kind of slid out of the way. And then once he realized that, oh shit, I can actually get the ball, he kind of readjusts. And now Chesney is, cunning enough to land his foot on the guy to make it seem like, oh, he got me.
Yeah.
And again, man, like they got away with one. They got away with one now. And yeah, it's just it went to VAR, right?
Yep.
Yep.
It's, yeah, like I do not understand how the ref called that yeah, any other way. But yeah, I just wanted to point that out. Sorry, but fun game though. Fun game. If you guys, for those who watched, back and forth, and shout out to Club Brugge. But again, sorry, it does highlight Hansi Flick's tactics in terms of the
The line.
offside trap.
Mm.
Yes, yes, and if depending on where you were watching it, um, they were showing you guys how they were setting up at halftime, right? So they would do the slow mos, and they would point out how easy it was for them to break past that, right?
Hmm.
Because it is not organized, and teams have started to figure out how to play. So again, they're the only thing they got going for them is they have the offense to kind of offset whatever right goals they leak in um, at the back. But to me, I don't think it's sustainable. Um,
That's what happened at Bayern.
mm,
His second season, every team figured it out,
mm,
and the only thing that kept Bayern in it is because they had firepower.
mm, yeah.
So, shifting gears so we can get this pot out. CJ, this was the game that I called a few weeks ago when we were kind of looking ahead at what game would be the banana peel game, and um, this was the game that I said. I've said it several times now. Uh, Sunderland, high flying, they're fourth place, 5 wins, 3 draws, 2 losses. They've only had 4 goals conceded. Sorry, they've only had 8 goals conceded, 12 scored. Um, we're going up north to Sunderland to face Granit Xhaka and his team. He's aging like fine wine. Injuries, like this is a very, very important game, and I think I forgot to even bring this up when we were talking about the Slavia Praha game. The fact that Saka and Declan Rice were playing till the 80th minute, to me, there's no need for that when it was already 2-0 or 3-0 at that time. So um, for me, the lineup, as we always say, like my predicted lineup, and CJ, I'll ask you for yours. I got Raya, Timber, Saliba, Gabriel Calafiori. I do think, like you said, Zubamendi just had a knock, and obviously the yellow card suspension. I think Zubamendi comes right back in. Rice, Eze, and Saka, Marino, Trossard up top since Gyökeres is injured. My only concern with this game is, and I think this is where we're going to actually understand if these players are actually ready for the title race or if they are actually serious this year. Because, Laurent, you gave us our plaudits. CJ, I've actually never heard you speak like this about Arsenal. Because this game has such a swing in what could be such a swing in the title race this early on. Right? We win, Liverpool City draw, or one of them loses. This could be such a big swing that I really want to see how they handle the pressure. Because Sunderland's going to be bouncing for this game. I would not be shocked if they have a tifo. I would not be shocked if Granit Xhaka has a performance of a lifetime against us. So, and I would not be shocked if we concede. I think that record may come to an end in this game, if I'm being honest with you. And I don't want it to, but with the way that Sunderland played against Everton, like I think CJ, you and I watched the game. Lauren, I told you to go back and rewatch it. Like Everton got lucky. Yes, I know Granit Xhaka messed up, and they could have scored on that counter. But like aside from that moment, Everton were extremely lucky not to concede again. And the way that Sunderland are playing, the way that they're the tiki taka, the quick passes, the progression, the north south play, the way that they can play out from the back, the way that they're utilizing Xhaka as a pivot, they're doing everything right. And this game worries me. Yes, I know we have Spurs coming up. Yes, I know we have Bayern. Yes, I know we have Chelsea. But this is that game where it can either, keep that momentum going, or it's going to be like, oh, same old Arsenal. So I don't know, CJ, do you see it in the same light as I do? One and two. Um, what is your predicted 11 as well?
I was um concerned, and I still am concerned about this game. But the way we're moving at the moment, the way we're performing, the desire, the hunger, again, the feeling that I get that these boys, the manager, everyone at the club understands and knows the assignment at the moment. Funny enough, um, I've become less nervous and more confident as the game has gone closer. So I am still nervous, but I'm actually quietly confident, to be honest with you. I know you've been shook about this one for a few weeks. We've called it even way back before the last international break. This was the one you've been concerned about for a while, and but yeah, I've had my eye on this one too for obvious reasons. Um, but I think, to be honest with you, I'm confident in this side at the moment. It's such a big weekend, like you said, and with what's at stake with the other games around us too. Again, I really do think we're seeing a different Arsenal. I hope, I hope this doesn't come to backfire now, but I just think, yeah, something feels different. You know what I mean? Something feels different in the air at the moment with this team. And again, I think with the fact that we play first, too, even right with the
Yeah.
what we can do to our title rivals with that psychological boost and the extra pressure we're going to put on both of those sides who play 24 hours later. There's only one thing at stake, right? When you know the assignment, it makes it a little bit easier than a little bit of like, oh, what do we do here? What? No, we know 3 points what we're coming for, what we need, and it'll put us in good stead going us into the international break with the tough games after that. I think the boys are kind of locked in on this one. Obviously, you hope for no fatigue from the Champions League in midweek and the travel, and you hope that everyone has come back unscathed and there's no more injuries to go along with the injury list that we already have. But yeah, all that to say, I'm actually getting a little bit more confident as the game is getting closer, which is funny enough. You think it would be the opposite, but
Between the two of us, you would think it'd be the opposite.
yeah, literally,
What the fuck is going
literally, what is going on?
on? Oh
Um,
shit.
but yeah, my lineup: Raya in goal, Timber, Saliba, Gabriel, Calafiori. I think comes back in at left back. Shout out to Piero and Capi though, who's been playing really well. I really like the look of that kid too, man. He looks like he fits this Arsenal team perfectly, right? Fearless, pace, power, aggression, defender. Like he fits the mold of what we're doing with our defense at the moment. But I think naturally Calafiori will come back into this game. Zubimendi will come back to this game. A game like this, we're going to need his control and his guile. You know what I mean? In midfield. Again, Norgard is Norgard. He's a backup at best, but Zubimendi's the guy, right? We need him back in this game alongside Declan Rice, and those two are just building a brilliant partnership. You know how they complement one another. I thought Partey and Rice was a really good partnership, but this is you can see what Zubimendi brings it just another level, right? Um, I think those two complement each other really well. Two intelligent footballers. Zubimendi, Rice go back in there, and you're quite a more creative mid. I think Eze comes back in for Wanyeri. Didn't enjoy Wanyeri's performance, particularly in midweek. He's got to step up. You know, in the absence of Odegaard at the moment, our fan base has been crying for him to get more minutes. I think that's more so emotionally because he's one of our own. He came from the academy, but he needs to step up. He's not doing great at the moment. Not doing bad. A couple good moments here and there, but he's got to step up. And I think the same goes for Eze. To be honest with you, he's got to
Yep.
step up his performances. He's a moments player at the moment. He's popping up with individual brilliant moments, but he's got to get more so into the games and be a presence over the course of 90 minutes as opposed to moments. And I think we're going to need him in this game. So Eze's got to step up. But he comes back into this one for me as well. And then, like I said, your front three picks itself, just because we are literally down to the bare bones in our forward line. It's crazy. Who else do we really have to put there? Like Max Dowman. I mean, you're not starting a 15-year-old in this game. So
No.
that has to be the front three, really. And I'm fine with it. Trossard's playing well. You know, obviously Marino's playing well, and Saka is the star man. So I think that's what we're gonna have to go with. I think that should be good enough to get the job done.
Um, I teased it a little bit earlier. Spurs, with their abysmal home record, they welcome United. Both teams had bad performances last week in the Premier League, um, and I don't know, Lauren. I want to ask you this actually: Who, which manager or which team is this a bigger game for? Spurs to get, they won midweek at home. United don't have anything to play for midweek, so this is all they have to prepare for. Is it bigger for United to continue to maintain their, top four race, because they're right now tied with Spurs, but they're behind on goal differential? Or is this a bigger game for Spurs because they've had such a poor home record? And we saw what happened last week between Thomas Frank and Jet Spence and Mickey Van de Ven. So who's this a bigger game for?
It's a great question.
Yeah, no. I mean, I kind of want to say it could be equally just as big for both, but if I had to pick one,
Because you know what, you guys both understand what I'm trying to get at, right?
mhm.
Like Amram had a couple good games. He had an unreal win at Liverpool. Like we're
Yeah,
back, and then last week, and then same thing with Spurs, right?
Honestly, I want to see just based off overall expectations, I think it's still bigger for United.
Mm,
They're the bigger club, right? And
really. Eh?
yeah, no, I think the pressure's still there for Emirates, if I'm being honest.
mm.
I don't think Frank has as much to lose with this that Emirates does, even if
Really?
Hmm.
in again, because up to this point, Tottenham has been okay, right? In terms of yeah, they've been inconsistent, right? But they were never under the headlights, like or under the spotlights, like Manchester United or Emirates was, right?
Yeah,
So I do feel like they have a buy, right? Where
Hmm.
okay, you lose this, all right, then maybe right they can start to talk about you kind of thing. Whereas if Emran does, plus he's expected right to win, it seems like they're starting to gel somewhat. They're looking a lot more fluid. And I forgot which pundit it was, but that even commented on it. But the expectations at Man United is that oh we're back, yeah, like Murad said, like we're here again, like this is the system, right? We've
yeah.
trusted Emirates, like this is it. So that's why I feel right in order to not uh, break that illusion, he has to win. He has to get a result here, or else again, right? They'll start looking at him, and
Hmm.
yeah,
CJ?
Yeah, I think I actually have a slightly different take. I think there is a lot of pressure on Thomas Frank to get a result in this game. Uh, I think it comes at a time where they're playing now in the Premier League back-to-back games against a top six side, and their last game in the Premier League was a loss to United. Sorry, their last game in the Premier League was a loss to Chelsea. Funny enough, in the London Derby, right? A poor performance at home where your fans are booing you off the field at full time. The performance was poor in the game, so fans were booing the team in the game, and then they got booed at the end of the game, right? So they were getting booed throughout. To lose at home again to your London rivals in Chelsea, you have a North London derby on the horizon after the international break away at Arsenal. You have to get something from this game against Man United. Again, a side that you have a good record against at the moment, right? Last year, United didn't beat Spurs, I think, in a few attempts. Beat them in the final of the Europa League. At this moment in time, Spurs is a Champions League club. Man United isn't. Man United is still considered a team in that transition a little bit. Um, Spurs again being at home. Ultimately, I think there's going to be massive pressure because imagine you lose again against another top six side at home in back-to-back weeks after what we saw with Thomas Frank and his players in the cameras last weekend after getting booed by your own fans, and again North London Derby. After the international break, there is a whole heap of pressure, I think, on Thomas Frank if he loses this one. Um, to be honest with you, like I think again for Man United and where they are, yes, what the badge, right? We know what the badge means, but for this team, if we look at this team in isolation, where they're at in the moment, and they're in their phase that transition, going away to Spurs may not be a horrible result, for them. But remember, not too long ago, they were getting excited about finally winning three games in a row. So how far they've fallen, So maybe away at Spurs, who's a Champions League club, um, right? And they're not. It may not be a horrible result for United, but I think Spurs need a positive result in this one, and I think they actually need to win. To be honest with you,
I
yeah,
agree
I
with
think
you. I 100% agree with you. I think I think it's a big game for both of them, but I would say it's even just slightly bigger for Thomas Frank in the grand scheme of what transpired last week in the performance. Even if they had lost, but the performance was better, I think it would have been more on Amarim. But I think with the performance last week and getting a performance out of the boys um, midweek, like this has to be, you have to get a result. You have to. And it's got to be scrappy. It's got to be, you got to show your fans that, like, you're in this. Um, West Ham, they face Burnley, relegation battle. Both teams, this could be a good swing, and it's not going to move anything for West Ham if they win because they're still goal differential. They're -11, Burnley's -7, but it would definitely put pressure on Burnley. So Nuno Espirito Santos, he has a huge game ahead facing Burnley. When we, when you look at the rosters, West Ham should easily win this. Um, if I'm a betting man, I would actually put my money on Burnley because I just don't think West Ham have it. I think they're going down, man.
you think Burnley get 3 points at West Ham's ground.
I think Burnley get 3 points. Yeah,
Wow,
there's
that
just
would
some.
cause an uproar over there.
Yeah, there's just something, man, I'm. There's a very high likelihood that I'm wrong, but there's just something about this West Ham team. I just don't. Something's not right, and the fact that there's rumors coming out that Paqueta wants to leave in January, like something's not like something's brewing. I hope I'm wrong because it would be sad to see West Ham get relegated, but this is a pivotal game for them. Um, Everton take on Fulham. You guys both made fun of me when I said that they're my dark horse and where they were going to finish in my predictions. They're currently shitting the bed, and I have egg on my face, sitting in 14th place. Fulham sitting in 15th. Um, so if Everton win, they move up. They can potentially move up to the top 10. They don't win, then I'm gonna have even more egg on my face, and I'm not gonna want to come on the pod anymore because I may have fucked up, just like Laurent and his Centurion. Um,
Mm.
but this is a big game for all the English players looking at Jack Grealish with Foden's performances being selected, and I think there's only one more. There's this camp and there's one more camp right before the World Cup, or is there two more camps?
International break.
Yeah,
Yeah, so this upcoming one for November, and I think there's one
mm,
more in March.
March, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like this is it. This is going to be one of the last times to be able to, make your case. So I'm curious to see how they perform, and I do think this is going to be a very tight match. I think Everton may squeeze one, but I wouldn't be shocked if it's a draw. Um, Laurent, do we see two shitty performances from Chelsea back to back?
This is
Do I
gonna be
even
the
need to
easiest
say who
game.
you're facing?
It's gonna be the
Yeah.
easiest game of the weekend to predict.
Shitty on the defensive end. You know, on that note, I couldn't tell you, man. I could not tell you, right? Because it seems like every game there's always something new happening in that defense. Um, yeah, but if our defensive game is sublime, I see no cause for concerns, right? It's an easy win. Like I said, right, going forward, we do have the ability to score. So yeah, no, for me, right, we just have to make sure not to make those defensive mistakes, and that's 3 points.
Hmm. Let's hope. Let's hope
Yeah.
that's not a banana peel game because Wolves have not won, and they
Oh,
have.
yeah, wouldn't want to be the first to, yeah.
I'll put it this way. I'll put it this way. If Wolves win, I am apologizing to you in advance of what's going to come your way when we record on Sunday.
All right, man, bring it.
I'm just saying. I'm prefacing it now, listeners, viewers. Just saying. I just apologize to you in advance, and I will apologize before we start recording again on Sunday with what's going to come your way.
All right, man,
Hmm.
I'm here for it.
Um, Forrest, did either of you know how Forrest did today?
I think they drew zeros.
Did they? Yeah, they did.
James
Well,
White missed a pen, I think.
yeah. Um, face Leeds, another relegation battle this week. There's actually a lot of relegation battle games this weekend. Um, we'll see. Forest again, not going to really change anything for them if they win. If they win, West Ham loses, they move up one spot. Doesn't really make a difference for them, but they have to win. This is the must win for Forest and Sean Deitch. I like what is there to say? Don't like. I think was it you, Laurent, that said that you kind of hope, or was it both of you that said that you hope that Forest get relegated just because of the way their owner's been, the way their owner treated Nuno Espirito Santos.
Hmm.
It was
Yep,
both of you, right?
yep.
Yeah.
So and like looking at their next few games, like they got Leeds at home, Liverpool away, Malmo in Europa, then Brighton at home, Wolves away, Everton away. Like it doesn't get any easier, right? They still have to before the end of the year. They have to face Everton twice. They have to face Liverpool, Spurs, City, and Fulham. So like I don't really see how Forest get out of the relegation zone. And Marinakis, and I don't know if you guys saw Marinakis is actually getting charged with he's under investigation for oh my god. Um, there's like a few counts of violence and like mafia ties or something. Like I saw it pop up like okay, cool.
I'm telling you, bro, that guy is Suge Knight in the making, bro. Yo, that is fucked.
Palace they host Brighton. They're both looking to stay within striking distance for European spots. both Palace sitting in ninth, Brighton sitting in 10th. Mateta's been on a like we talked about our last pod. Mateta's been on a tear, but Lewis Dunk and Co are going to look to see if they can slow him down. Uh, I, I think it's going to be a draw. I don't really see anything separating the two sides.
That's a
Uh,
derby game there, or a
yeah,
rivalry they have between those two clubs.
yeah. And the thing with Crystal Palace is, and I think I was listening to, I forgot what pod I was listening to, but for Palace, it's going to be critical for them to get as many points as possible prior to AFCON because they're going to lose
Yeah,
Ismail
true.
Assar, right? So like this is critical for them. This is critical for them to get as many points as possible because losing Sar for as long as Ghana, he's Ghanaian, right? I'm not tripping out.
No, I think he's from Senegal.
Is he? Um, Senegalese. Yes, you are right. Sorry. Um, for as long as Senegal stay in AFCON, like that's going to be a huge blow for them because he's been pivotal for how Wharton, how Mateta they've been playing. So we'll see. Last two matches before we get to the match of the weekend. Brentford they welcome Newcastle. Again, both teams. Newcastle played well midweek. Brentford they've been difficult to play against. They're both sitting 12th and 13th respectively. Newcastle are looking to get out of the bottom half of the table. I don't know. My question to you guys would be like, would you prefer to be Brentford in this game because you're rested throughout the entire week, or would you prefer to be Newcastle playing in rhythm?
Simply put, for me, Newcastle needs to bounce back because they lost last time out in the Prem against West Ham, so they need to put some points on the board.
Hmm.
I'd say Newcastle and Rhythm.
Newcastle.
Yeah.
Okay. Villa take on Bournemouth. Bournemouth have been high flying. Villa sitting mid table in 11th. For
Tough
for
game
me,
for Villa.
yeah, because Bournemouth look the real deal. So it's gonna be interesting. I think again, I think this was you, Laurent. I think you said last week when Bournemouth lost to City 3-1, like they looked quite organized, and it looked like a very like the score line didn't show it, but it was a very even game when you were actually watching it. I don't know if it was you or CJ. One of you said. I think it
I think
was
it was
you, Laurent.
Laurent.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, no, and especially I think going forward, um, and this is like from all the other Premier teams that I've seen, like going forward, I think they're set up in a way to cause the most damage going forward. Um, but it's just again, right? Like your experience offensively, right, and how your players operate within the system that allows for gaps to happen, right?
Hmm.
But going forward, man, in the way they're set up, I think any other team, right? They're banging goals. Yeah.
And even for them too, eh? Like their biggest threat, Antoine Semenyo, he's
Hmm.
Ghanaian,
Yes.
True.
and
Yes.
he's going to be gone, right? Um, so they need to get as many points as possible on the board before AFCON. I think that's going to be critical for a lot of teams that have players from African descent. You know, like even for Liverpool, like losing Salah as much as he's been playing like, he hasn't been playing like himself. Like that's still a huge loss. And I believe that when AFCON happens, Arsenal do play Liverpool, so they may be without Salah for that game. All right, CJ, give
Hmm.
us the breakdown. Match of the weekend: City, Etihad, Liverpool. What do we expect? Do you expect high flying game? Do you expect control? Do you expect both teams want to save face and at least take away a point, or do you expect one team to just go for it, or both teams to go for it?
Wow. Well, first I'll say, outside of any game involving Arsenal at the moment, this would be the game of the season so far, for sure. This is going to be a banger, and especially because you're seeing both teams come into form now, right? Both teams being desperate to stay in the title race, both teams will have known the Arsenal result one way or another by then. So there's just this one just has all the makings of a banger of a match, and these it always has been between these two clubs over the recent times. And Murdad, it's funny. Like once upon a time, do you remember me and you used to talk about this as we've been going at this now for 5, 6 years? When we used to watch City versus Liverpool, how much did we like look at those games and think, damn, when we were in our banter era and shit was rocky for us and we were finishing eighth place twice in a row. How much did we look at those games back then when it was Pep versus Klopp and say, yo, how much we would just love to be a part of this conversation, in terms of a title race. And you look at the quality players on both sides, and for City it's De Bruyne and Haaland, and for Liverpool it's Salah, it's Trent, it's Van Dijk, and they're just going toe to toe. And you're looking at two teams with quality, and at one point in time we were getting nowhere near those teams.
Yeah.
Whereas now it's like, again, credit to your guy and Arteta and how far we've come, and to your point, we're now well and truly in that conversation to the point now where they're kind of both looking up at us at this moment, trying to keep up with us. And it's like, wow, we've really come full circle. So I just think it's crazy that we're for once going to watch this game quite relaxed. I hope. I mean, this is assuming we do our job the day before, but knowing that these two clubs are trying to catch up to us at the moment, and they're both going to be desperate for 3 points on one another. And yeah, I just think it's a pretty surreal moment. Hopefully we can capitalize. We just got to get our job done, and then I'll definitely have much more of a smooth watch on the Sunday. But um, yeah, man, I truly think both teams are going to try and go for it a bit, especially in the first half. Like I think if it gets into halftime and late into the game, even say it gets 70 minutes and it's still zeros or it's tied, I think both teams are going to kind of play for the draw. In my personal opinion, kind of no one's going to want to lose it at that point because the fear of losing it and what that could do for your title aspirations. Um, it could have detrimental effects, to be honest with you. So I think if it's still tied late in the game, like 70 minutes, whatever, and onward, I think both teams might try and chest mass each other, feel it out, um, and maybe take the draw and shake hands on it and take the draw. But I think in that first 45, you're going to see a fiery back and forth. I think both teams are going to try and really test the waters, test both opposition teams' defense because both defenses can be got at, as we've seen so far this season. Um, so I think that first 45 minutes is going to be more of the basketball match of like, back to back, end to end. Maybe Liverpool might try and nick an early lead. City's going to start hot strictly because they're at home and they have that robot who's banging form, which makes the spectacle even better, right? You have
Yeah.
Haaland banging form going up against, Virgil van Dijk, who again, for most people's eyes still, right, the pinnacle of the center back, right? So if anyone's going to stop the robot, it should be, if it's not our guys, it should be a Virgil van Dijk, right? He's the man too, right? So you're looking forward to that matchup. There's just so many matchups across the pitch that you're looking forward to. Um, so it's going to be a cracking game, man. And I think, yeah, that first 45 minutes is going to be one to watch. And I think maybe things will level out in the second half if things are still tight and the game is close. Um, First 45 minutes, I think, will be pretty open. We've seen that, right, at games against these
Yeah.
two, whether it's at Anfield or the Etihad. They both teams will go for one another. And I think again with the defenses that both teams have at the moment and the vulnerabilities, I think both teams are going to try and test that because both teams do have pretty formidable attacks.
Laurent, can I ask you something?
Yep.
Same thing that I asked about the Spurs United game. Who's this a bigger game for? Man
Mm.
City to keep things close to Arsenal. Like it's saying that Arsenal win would be on 28 points, and saying that Man City win they'd be on 22 points, so it'd be a 6 point gap. Or is this a big? Because again, remember we drew them, and we have to go to the Etihad, right? So when we get to the business end of the season, we have to go there. Or is this a bigger game for Arnie Slot to maintain things and keep things close? Because again, if we win, we go to 28. If they win, they go to 21. Be a 7 point gap, right? But they have to come to us in January, and they're going to be without Mohamed Salah. So who is this a bigger game for?
Okay, so this is not right for the manager specifically, but more so the club.
Yeah, more so for the club, but like obviously the discussion is going to be around the manager. If one team loses, who got it wrong, and like are the discussions to be that is Arne Slot really the manager? Is the board gonna you know have their doubts? Are they gonna you know have the same doubts that I've always had with this man? So who do you think? Who would you say this is a bigger game for? Man City or
I'm going
Liverpool?
with Liverpool on this.
Hmm.
Yeah, overall, I mean, there is the managerial aspect to it, um, where prior to this, right, they've been on horrendous form, right? Uh, for the expectations that were given to them, right, just by the world entirely, right, the whole football world, and I think this is the game that they need, especially on the back of right the win against Real Madrid. This is definitely a game that they need to use to build momentum and as well to validate whatever it is that Arne Slot has done right recently in terms of the changes. Right, if he comes out with a win here, then okay, now he kind of has a blueprint, right, going forward. Okay, this works, and I can use this right for or this template, sorry, for the rest of the season, right? Because clearly, what he was doing up to this point, right, just was not giving him the results. So for me, yeah, hands down, Liverpool, and as well, you did mention the Salah aspect, where in December, right, they're going to be without him due to AFCON. So it's a question as well as racking up as many points, and these are big points for me, right? So yeah, hands down, Liverpool.
CJ, do you agree?
Hmm, bigger game. I think it's a big game for both. If I have to pick one, probably slightly bigger game for Liverpool. And again, technically because they are behind us and even City, right? They're third in the race technically if we're going based on points, and they spent the most money. Manager has more spotlight, right? Pep has got more credit in the bank, yada yada yada. Um, Liverpool's form has been just as bad, right? Before that last, if we're talking strictly Premier League, that last weekend's game against Villa was the first time they've gone on track in the Premier League for a good while. Before that was just L after L. So probably if we're gonna have to pick one, slightly more pressure on Liverpool maybe, and then Slot. Again, with they're gonna have that spotlight on them, I think, all season with the money spent, right?
Yeah.
Is Isak back it for this one?
No, I don't think so.
No,
Mm, okay.
no. So, and I think Isak not being back, personally, I think it's better for them because I think Ekatike's been undroppable, and I think it just muddies the water if Isak is back, and I actually think it helps them because you can just play Ekatike and know that he's just going to be the main guy.
Hmm.
But that's my personal opinion. Like I think
No, I
maybe
think
I'm
you're right.
wrong,
I think
but
you're actually think you're right with how they should start. Ekatike deserves the shirt at the moment. I'm just thinking if it's going wrong for them or they need a goal, Isak would be good to bring off the bench. Um, but yeah, no, definitely Ekatike deserves the shirt at the moment.
um, coming to our predictions as always, we all got one game right because Chelsea fucked us. Um, we all got Arsenal right. We all got
Fucking
Chelsea.
Chelsea, man.
Yeah, Chelsea fucked us. The Liverpool game, like, yeah, sure, we messed up, but that was just an unreal. That was a great game, a great watch. So as the scoreboard stands currently, CJ and I are on 29 points. Laurent is on 25. This week we're gonna stop the 4 games so that we don't,
Hmm.
I
Seriously,
don't.
I actually said Bayern. Just a heads up. I know I said Bayern. That would have been me 3 points, but it is what it is. I'm not even mad. Um, but
Legend has it. We're still waiting for my prediction on that one.
Um.
yeah.
So starting with the Arsenal game, Arsenal at Sunderland. Laurent, what say you?
Fuck. Yeah, honestly,
Arsenal. I'll just tell you guys mine from now.
oh shit. Okay, you know what? I did think I probably thought you were gonna say like a draw or something, but then given what your assessment earlier in the pod, then yeah, makes sense. But I feel like Murday might go with a draw. But yeah,
Nah.
really,
Even
Jesus.
though this is a banana peel game, like I'm gonna put my money where my mouth is. I think these boys pull it off.
Wait, where is it being played?
Sunderland.
Oh shit.
It's an away game.
All right, yo, you know what? I'm gonna have to go with the draw then.
I know you were. I know you are.
Yeah, and I think bro, this is a calculated gamble at this point. Um, and I think it's the right one to make in this case. Yeah, I'm gonna go with a draw.
Can I just bypass the Chelsea Wolves? Or are any of us saying Wolves or draw?
Nah.
Okay, thank God. City Liverpool, Mr. Piana.
I'm gonna go Liverpool, man.
Wow.
Ooh!
I'm gonna go Liverpool. In Slav we trust.
Oh fuck!
I'm gonna go Liverpool.
Really? Are you
Yeah.
going Liverpool too, Murdad? Is that why you said that? This guy looks so disappointed.
No, no. Like it's. Oh fuck!
It's one of those where that's a big win midweek. You carry that on, man. Like whatever you did to get you that result, and it looks like they played well. Yeah, you follow up with that. And plus, to me, again, I seen City versus Bournemouth. Bournemouth, right? The scoreline was as such because Bournemouth did not take a lot. Right? They couldn't capitalize. And
But they're
City,
clinical. The city's showing that they're clinical and they're healthy.
I don't disagree, but now for me, I have the two factors at hand, which are Virgil van Dijk and Konate. I'll give Konate, right? I think they can lock down Holland. And now, right, the right back, left back, a man like was it Bradley that was doing that to arguably the best left winger in the world in modern football. Yeah, I think they're good.
Wow.
See, this is why I'm torn because
So
my
why have I been
heart
telling you guys this? Like, yo, y'all make your pick, man. I ain't trying to have you guys pick a
my
side.
heart tells me,
No, I'm going. I'll tell you guys right now. I'm going draw for this one.
Mm.
yeah, my heart, yeah, that's like,
Wait, this is after. You know what? I'm not gonna say anything before we lock it in.
No, you can lock me in for all three of my predictions. I'm going draw.
yeah, I have to go draw. I'll go draw. Yeah,
All right, so we're locked in.
I'm locked in because what I was debating is like my heart wants a draw, but my gut says Holland's gonna be too much. But
For who? Who's gonna be too much for it?
I think Holland's gonna be too
Virgil
much for that back line.
Virgil van Dijk?
Yeah, I think the form that he's on, and the way that Van Dijk and Konate have been playing, I think they're just gonna get exposed. Because again, you're forgetting that Ryan Cherky's healthy. You're forgetting Marmoush is healthy. You're forgetting Bernardo Silva. You're forgetting, like to your point, your favorite left winger, Jeremy Doku. So like all that factor, but I think it's going to be a draw. I don't think there's going to be much in this game. I think it'll be goals. I think it'll be 1-1 or 2-2. Um, but I don't think it's going to be as dominant of a performance that we think. But sorry, Laurent, you were going to say
I mean, so the midfield, for Liverpool mostly is gonna be, or most likely, Szoboszlai, Gravenberch, and McAllister, right?
By the
correct.
way, we're all locked in at this point, right?
Yeah, we're locked
Yeah,
in. Yeah,
Okay.
and no changing.
yeah.
Okay. Continue. Laurent.
Yeah,
And
because I mean, again,
City,
yeah.
sorry, Laurent, didn't mean to cut you off.
Mm,
City is going to be probably what we saw this week, midweek, or maybe Marmoush comes in. Sorry, Bernardo Silva comes in, so it'd be probably like um, Savio, Silva, Foden, Doku, or like Marmoush, Silva, Foden, Doku, like or Cherokee comes in the middle. They rested Ruben Diaz.
hmm
Like, do we see John Stones play right back and then play Stones, Ruben, Vardiol, Nico O'Reilly, or does Vardiol go back to being left back to try to be physical with Salah? Like they have that flexibility. The only person who's not convincing for me is Nico Gonzalez. That's where I see
And that's a key
them.
player.
That is a key player, and that's where I see Liverpool being able to expose. But then on the flip side, like as much as Andy Robertson in the last two games come in and been able to provide some stability, he doesn't have the legs. So if I'm Pep Guardiola, I'm gonna put a pacey player. I'm gonna put a Savio. I'm gonna put a Marmoush. I'm gonna put Cherokee. I'm gonna put a Bernardo Silva and try to attack that side. Right? Conor Bradley, he has the pace, he has the stamina, he's young, he can go at it, but I'm gonna overload that side. And I'm gonna force Haaland to take Van Dijk away. Right? I'm gonna force Haaland to play in the middle and take Van Dijk and Konate away so that I can isolate Andy Robertson because he's not a good defender. Damn, I should be a fucking coach.
I'm not gonna lie. If this game was at Anfield, I'd have a different prediction. I would go with Laurent's prediction if this game was at Anfield. But
Oh, fuck.
I
Hey,
see what you're
locked in, bro. It's locked
no,
in.
no,
We're
yeah,
just
no, I'm not.
having. Okay, okay.
I'm definitely not changing. But again, for me, it's over reliance on Holland. Bro, legit, all they have to do is just cut his supply. It's easier said than done, right? But just cut the guy's supply, and he's not seeing anything. You see what I'm saying? He can't. He's not gonna create for himself. But mind you, on the other end, bro, these guys like, right? They can mesh well going forward, right? And it's not just one player, right? That I can go out there and create those chances for them. Um, yeah, no. So I don't know, man. I think personally, I don't think we're gonna see a draw, and for the only reason that like you guys highlighted earlier, right? It's a very important game for both of these teams. Like the points are needed, and I think at some point, right? I don't know if they're gonna play it safe, in my opinion, right? We might see them look to almost like throwing caution to the wind, right? When you're trying to, you're pushing your players forward to look to get that win. And I feel like I know Slot is going to do that, right? Because
But then
that
does
was
that open it up for City
no,
on the counter?
funny enough, right?
of course, yeah.
Right. That's the funny thing, right? So, and if that does, then clearly I don't think we're right. It's the likelihood of that draw is suddenly no longer there because if Slot is going to push, um, yeah, Liverpool could very much be open.
I agree, and I think like if I'm predicting first half, second half, I think first half Liverpool will score first. Um, and I wouldn't be shocked if Liverpool scored twice before City score.
I think Liverpool might score first too, actually.
And before the end of the half, City score one to either tie or bring it close. Beginning of the second half, they score again, and then that's it.
Mm.
That's how I see it.
Okay.
I don't think this is a game that Slot wants to lose. I think if he goes up, he's going to play conservative, and if it's a draw, he's going to play conservative in the second half. He can't afford a loss.
Yeah.
Whereas Pep, he can afford a loss because Arsenal still have to go to that Etihad.
That's a good point, actually. That's a good point you make. I didn't consider that, right? That we have to go to their ground. But I don't think obviously they're not gonna want a loss, right? I don't think they'd accept a loss either. I think they're gonna go for it just as much. That's what makes it a fascinating game, man, honestly. And they're at home, right? The home factor, right? The fans are not gonna accept that. Um, yeah, it's gonna be a fascinating watch. I'm fucking excited for it, man. We just gotta fucking do our job first.
Wait, so what do you guys hope the result is?
A draw.
Draw. That's why I was torn to make the prediction as a draw because my heart wants a draw, but my gut also says it may be a draw.
And is that so when you guys say draw, is that irrespective of whatever result you guys get?
No, for me, I mean, a draw is assuming we win, right? I want a draw.
All
Well,
right.
I mean, even if we don't maximum
Yeah.
points, then definitely more so you want to draw.
Okay, so there's not even a case because I mean, let's say because if it's a draw, both of those guys are right. Let's say okay, worst case scenario, you guys lose, right? No
Mhm.
points. They
Mhm.
draw, both of those guys start to creep up. You see what I'm saying? And
Yeah,
you're
by one
winning
point.
yeah, yeah, but I mean, it's still 1 foot forward, right? And suddenly now you have, you know, two guys, right, at your doorstep kind of thing.
But I see both of those teams as a threat regardless. So I'd
Yeah.
rather them both get 1 point each as opposed to one of them get three, which brings obviously that bridges that gap even more.
mm, mm,
If anything, if Sunderland beat us, they're the closest because they'd be on 21 points.
mm.
If Sunderland beat us, they'd be in second place. If City draws, they'd be in third with 20, and then Liverpool would drop to fourth. And if Bournemouth win, like again, Bournemouth can push everybody down too. So, but yes, irrespective of us winning or losing, a draw would be the most ideal result.
Sunderland game is massive too, man, for us. Well, I don't even know who we have to call off the bench, Murad, if it's not going right. Like we have to do one of those things where we score early again and then just hold our hold our lead. And if we're gonna make substitutions, it's gonna be defensive ones to see out the game. But
Please don't
God
do
forbid
that.
we have to,
Please don't do that.
bro. God forbid we
There,
have to
there,
come.
there's fans that are gonna watch outside of your club that are gonna watch the game. So we
But who
like
do we? Yeah, but who do we have? Like,
That's
I,
the thing. Look, our job is not to make it entertaining for you guys, bro. I'm sorry. We just need to get our points and get our results, and we need to score early because again, if we have to do one of those things where we come from behind or we have to look at somebody off the bench to change the game, if it's still like tied, we don't have much to call on, right? We have a 15-year-old Max Dallman. Literally all the other attackers are injured, so we need to score early and kind of professionally manage the game and make defensive substitutions in the second half if we need to stink out the
Harry, like,
stadium.
yeah, we don't really. Yeah.
We gotta do our job, man. That's a big game. 12:30 kickoff, so later in the day under the lights.
Well, as always, fellas, it's a pleasure. Listeners, viewers, you know what to do. CJ Lauren would say it all the time. Hit that subscribe, hit that button, hit the bell. We got podcasts coming at you hot and fast. We got a good idea for the intro law. We got a couple spicy topics that we're gonna bring out to you next week during the intro law, so you got something to listen to. Um, yeah, you'll either see all three of us, well, maybe two of us, super ecstatic during the next pod, or one of us super ecstatic to know that the title race is back on. So on that bombshell, on the
I just
Centurion.
have
Oh, sorry.
well, I have one quick question for you before you sign us off. Are we all I have to follow up with this question. Are we all still going to gatherings on November 29th? 30th, is it?
November 29th.
It's 29th? No, it's not 29th. Did it change? It's November 30th. Are we all still going to gatherings Resto Bar
Wait,
at
did it
11:30?
change?
It must have. Because before we always talked about the 29th, the last.
Yeah.
So the 30th?
30th is a Sunday, 11:30 a.m.
Yeah, I'll be there.
Will we be
Lock
there?
it in.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Lock it
Just
in.
following up for the viewers. They want some answers, you know? We've been hyping this one up since pretty much the season started, and we're at that month. Laurent's drinking beer, people. So like and subscribe for us if you want to see Laurent drink more beer.
Bro,
Every like
I'll be drinking some
means another
tequila
beer.
at the gatherings, man. Like, yeah, and
In
every like brings another beer for sure.
in your Chelsea kit.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Tequila in the kit at the gatherings.
Jeez, fam, you better have that kit on express shipping, bro. You're running out of time to order that.
After the lap, the lap banger. Let's get it. Let's get it. Oh man, legit, I hope that guy picks up a card, bro. Because there's no way. I don't want to see, uh, a soft striker or afraid because Maresca told you to, tone it down. Nah, man. Nah, this is the game where you come out and you play like Diego Costa, bro. You know? Yeah, this is the game because you got to show these guys. These guys think they're untouchable. That's how you guys are feeling right now, right? You guys really think, wherever that shirt it was that you were wearing the other day, you guys really think you guys are out here pointing little pee wee papa guns at other fans and other players' heads? Nah, man, nah. We're about to show you guys, bro, that we really do this. So yeah, on that
Murad, you
note.
hearing this?
Like you said, CJ. Yeah, let the talking happen on the field. And I think that's a great way to say goodbye. Peace.
Later.
Centurion no more.